So first let's finish the chapter 3 and we have question number as a 24 will be homework. Let me do question number 25 because 24 and 25 are quite same. So in question number 25 what we have that we need to prove cos 6x is equal to 32 cos to the power 6x minus 48 cos 4x then plus 18 cos square x then minus 1. So we need to prove this thing. So before starting with the proof, first thing we need to do is we need to break this. We need to start with left hand side. Okay, so first I need to break this one into two parts. So left hand side I can write this one as cos 6x as cos 3x plus 3x. I can write this. Now, so cos a plus b. What was the formula of cos a plus b? The formula of cos of a plus b is equal to cos a cos b minus sin a sin b. This one was the formula. So I will write this one as it will be cos 3x minus sin 3x sin 3x. So after this we will be writing the formulas of cos 3x and sin 3x. So first thing you see, there is no 3x in here, so all of them are in terms of x. So what is the formula of cos 3x? The formula of cos 3x is 4 cos cube x minus 3 cos x whole square. Same thing in here, it will be sin 3x into sin 3x, so sin square 3x. So that is nothing but that is equal to, we have in here is 3 sin x minus 4 sin cube x whole square. So now let us solve this thing. So what we have in here, so this one will be equal to what I get in here, a minus b whole square formula. So it will be 4 cos cube x whole square then plus 3 cos x whole square then minus 2 into 4 cos cube x into 3 cos x. And here this side what we have, here we have minus 3 sin x whole square, 3 sin x whole square then plus 4 sin cube x whole square then minus 2 into 3 sin x into 4 sin cube x. So these are the things which we got. Now let us solve this one. So what we get in here, this one becomes 16 cos 6x plus this becomes 9 cos square x minus this is 24 cos to the power 4x and this side what we have is minus 9 sin square x. It is minus 9 sin square x. Then we have minus 16 sin to the power 6x. Then what we have in here, this one to be minus 24 sin to the power 4x. But you see here in my answer it's all in cos. So what I will try to do is I will transform this sign into cos. Achha, this one will be plus, it won't be minus, it will be plus. So how to do that? So we'll do one thing. So cos 6x plus 9 cos square x, we have no problem with these because they are of cos. The problem with this sign, so 9 sin square x, how can I write this one as? I can write this one as 1 minus cos square x. I can write this, right? Now here sin 6x, so sin 6x, I can write this one as sin square x whole cube, and sin square x is what? 1 minus cos square x. So I can write this one as minus 16 1 minus cos square x whole cube, and here I can write this one as plus 24 1 minus cos square x whole square, because it's sin square x whole square and sin square x can be written as 1 minus cos square x. So if I solve these things, we get 16 cos 6x plus 9 cos square x minus 24 cos to the power 4x, then minus 9, then plus 9 cos square x. Then here we have to multiply this one. We have to write a minus b whole cube, the formula of a minus b whole cube. So minus 16, what is the formula? It is a cube. First I will write minus 1, then minus 3a square b, minus 3a square b. So 3 into this a square into b is cos square. So it will be cos square x, then plus ab square. So it will be 3. A is 1, b is what? Cos square x. So ab square. So this one will be cos to the 4x and cube of this thing. So it will be minus cos 6x. This is what we have. And the last one is this one, plus 24. Now a minus b whole square formula, a square minus 2ab, 2 into 1 into cos square x, that is 2 cos square x, and b is how much? It will be cos square x whole square, that will be plus cos to the power 4x. So this is what we have. Now let us write all of them together and see what you get. So 16 cos to the power 6x plus 9 cos square, plus 9 cos square x and plus 9 cos square x, they become 18 cos square x. Let us write that thing. Plus 18 cos square x minus 24 cos to the power 4x, then minus 9. Now here's here, let's multiply. Minus 16, then this one is minus 48 cos square x, then we have this one as minus 48 cos to the power 4x, then we have minus 16 cos to the power 6x, here plus 24 minus 48 cos square x, then we have plus 24 cos to the power 4x. So let us see what we get. So here we have cos to the power 6x, cos to the power 6x. So this one will be, wait a second, minus, minus, it will be plus, plus. It will be plus. You have to check the sign. Again, this one will be plus. Yeah, we need to check the signs. Okay. So now 16, 16, they become 32 cos to the power 6x. Then we have 18 cos square x, 48 cos square x, and minus 48 cos square x. So we will be getting what? It will be 18 cos square x. So plus 18 cos square x, because these two gets cancelled. Now what we have is that cos to the 4x. So this one and this one gets cancelled. So we have minus 48 cos to the 4x, and we have minus 16 minus 9. This one becomes minus 25 and this one is 24. So we have minus 1. So this is my answer of question number 25. Okay, so this chapter is over, chapter 3, and trigonometric equation is not in your syllabus, so we will be not doing that portion. Now we'll start the next chapter, that is chapter number 5, that is complex number, because chapter 4 is also rejected, it's also not part of your syllabus. So we will be starting chapter 5, that is what? Complex number and quadratic equation and quadratic equations. So first thing what we need to know is what is a complex number. So look, we have solved different type of quadratic equations. Like we solved quadratic equation like this: x square plus 5x plus 6 equal to 0. How we solved equations like this? We used to do what? X square factorization. We done 3x plus 2x plus 6 is equal to 0. Then x plus 3, then plus 2, x plus 3 is equal to 0. So like this way we used to factorize the quadratic equation and used to find the solution of those particular equations. Now there will be some equations in which we cannot find real values, we cannot find real numbers like this, -3, -2, 2, 4. So there are some type of quadratic equations in which real values, real solutions cannot be determined. And let me just show you one example. There is one example is x square is equal to -1. Now when I'm writing this thing x square is equal to -1, can you think of any number whose square is a negative number? We learned in my first chapter that no matter whatever number you pick and you square that thing, you will always get a positive number, right? But what we see across in here that we will have a certain number whose square will be a negative number. Okay, so the quadratic equation is like this: x square plus 1 is equal to 0. This is how the quadratic equation whose real solution does not exist. Okay, so x square is equal to -1. So listen very carefully. So complex number, the idea of the identity is known as I. It's known as iota. And what is iota? It is square root of -1. So if you have x square is equal to -1, so the solution of this particular equation is x is equal to root over of -1, and this is not a real number because this is not a real solution. So this number are known as imaginary number. So what is imaginary number? Imaginary numbers are those numbers which have square root of a negative number. Okay, so this is what imaginary numbers. Now, so what is complex number? So complex number is nothing but real number plus that imaginary real part plus the imaginary part gives you the complex number. So suppose if I have to express a complex number, how will I express that? So I will write that z is equal to a plus ib. This is how I denote a complex number. Now what is z? Z is a way we denote and a plus ib. You see this a is basically the real part. This a is nothing but the real part, and this b is nothing but the imaginary part. Okay, now if I ask you what is square root of -81, how will I write that thing? Now square root of -81, I will write this one as I can write this one as like this: square root of -1 into square root of 81. You see here, if I can express this one as -1 into 81. So this square root gets separated. So square root of -1 into square root of 81. Square root of -1, we know it's iota. I will write I, and square root of 81 is 9. So this is nothing but 9i. Okay, it's an imaginary number. So that's what imaginary numbers are all about. Now if I ask you what is square root of -9, it will be the same thing. Again, what you will see is that it is 9 into -1, and you see square root of 9 into square root of -1. What is square root of -1? We know it's iota I, and square root of 9 is 3. So it's written as 3i. So these are known as imaginary numbers. So suppose let me give you an example of a complex number. Suppose my z is 2 plus 5i, or I say z is 7 minus 3i. So these are certain examples of complex number where if I ask you what is the real part of this z, real part of z is what? Real part of z, you will directly say the real part is that part which does not has I multiplied to it. Okay, so the real part is what? 2. So that's written as REZ. So real part of the complex number is 2. And what is the imaginary part? Imaginary is written like this, IMZ. And imaginary part is that part which has I multiplied to it. It is 5. Clear? So any complex number can also be written as real part of z plus imaginary plus I into imaginary part of z. So this is how we write complex numbers. Now there are algebra of complex numbers. So what is algebra of complex number? Algebra of complex numbers. Now listen very carefully. The first function is that, when I add two complex numbers, what happens? Suppose I have two complex numbers, z1, which is given by a1 plus ib, a1 plus ib1, and there is another complex number which is given by z2, that is a2 plus ib2. Now if I add these two complex numbers, then what happens? I'm doing addition in here. So addition, it means what? It will be z1 plus z2, right? So what happens is that I will write the two complex numbers a1 plus ib1 and plus a2 plus ib2. So addition gives us what? All the real parts, corresponding real parts will be added and the corresponding imaginary part will be added. So it will be a1 plus a2, the real parts are added, plus ib1 plus ib2. You look at here, both of them as I common, so we can take out I as common and we will write this one as b1 plus b2. So what happens when we do addition of two complex numbers? The real parts get added, correspondingly their imaginary part also gets added. So let us say two complex numbers, z1 is 2 plus 5i, and there is another complex number z2 is equal to 7 plus 9i. Now if I do addition of them, so z1 plus z2 will be equal to what? The real parts are added, this is the real part, this is the real part, so 2 plus 7, that is 9, plus the imaginary parts are added, 9 plus 5, that is 49. So this is my addition of the two complex numbers. Now what is subtraction of two complex numbers? It's simple as that. Subtraction will be what? It will be z1 minus z2. My second one is subtraction is what? It is z1 minus z2. So what we have in here is, look at here carefully, that addition gave us what? It is different. It's the sum of two corresponding parts, right? Sum of the real parts plus I of sum of imaginary parts. So subtraction will be what? Subtraction of the real parts, difference of the real parts, plus I, difference of the imaginary part. Subtraction is just a part of addition only. There is no difference between subtraction and addition. They are the same thing. Now we'll be learning about additive identity. What is additive identity? And the other one is additive inverse. Additive inverse. So first thing we need to know that what is additive identity. Now listen very carefully. Additive identity. Identity means what? Suppose I'm getting my whatever I'm doing, no matter what I do with myself, I'll just keep my identity intact. It's like that. So additive identity means what? I'm adding something with a complex number, but that complex number remains the same. It keeps its identity intact. Okay. So what number? Now forget about complex number. Now you tell me, what number should I add with number 5 to keep its identity intact? What number should I add with 5 to get 5? Obviously I will add 0 with 5, then only I can get 5, right? So in the same way, if I have a complex number z, suppose that z is given by a plus ib, what additive identity should I add with this complex number so that it will give the same complex number? Obviously it will be 0. It's very, very easy. So remember this one, additive identity of every complex number is 0. It's nothing but 0 plus 0i. Okay. So additive identity basically means what? What number should I add? What complex number should I add with the given complex number to get the same complex number? So if I have z is equal to a plus ib, So I have 0 plus 0i plus a plus ib, that is again gives us a plus ib. So you see the identity remains intact. Identity, additive identity, I'm sorry. Now we have additive inverse. Now what is additive inverse? Additive inverse means what complex number should I add with a given complex number to get 0? That's what additive inverse is all about. So what number should I add with 5 to get 0? Obviously it will be just negative of 5. So 5 minus 5 gives you 0, right? So the additive inverse will be what? Suppose if I have a complex number z is equal to a plus ib, and what complex number should I add to get 0? That will be minus z. Only if I add minus z with z, then only they cancel out and they will give us 0. So what is minus z is equal to? Minus z is nothing but minus a minus ib. Now if you add both of them, z minus z, by looking at it you can see that it's coming 0. So it's a plus ib plus minus a minus ib. So you see a gets cancelled and bb gets cancelled. So we get 0 plus 0i. So that's what additive inverse is all about. So now we'll be doing multiplication of two complex numbers. Multiplication of two complex numbers. Now how to multiply two complex numbers? Suppose we have z1. z1 is given by a1 plus ib1 and z2 is given by a2 plus ib2. Now if I do multiplication of both these two complex numbers, so what we get? z1 into z2, that is equal to, now write the z1. What is z1? a1 plus ib1, and then z2 is what? a2 plus ib2. This is what we have, right? So just simple multiplication. How we used to multiply x plus y and a plus b, just like that. First you multiply x with a, then you multiply x with b, then b with then y with a, then y with b. The same way we will multiply in here. So a1 into a2, then a1 into b2. Look at here, there is I is there, so I will write I first. a1 b2, a1 b2, a1 b2. Now this one, then I b1 a2. So I will write first I will write, then b1 a2. Then look at here, this one, I into I. So it becomes what? I square and b1 b2. Now we have to know that what is I square. Look, I is square root of minus 1. So I square will be what? This is my I square and that is nothing but minus 1. So what we have? a1 a2 plus I a1 b2 plus I b1 a2 minus b1 b2. This is what we have. So I square is minus 1. So if I have to write it nicely, I will write like that. The real part I will write together, a1 a2 minus b1 b2 plus I taken common, a1 b2 plus b1 a2. So that's how we multiply two complex numbers.